Hello friends, welcome to Automation Community. Today in this video we are going to discuss an example which will be about bottle status checking. So let's look at the example first. Bottle status checking. After the bottle filling process, which takes 15 seconds, the conveyor has a sensor which checks the bottles whether half filled or fully filled. In case of fully filled, the box will move on. In case of half filled, a linear actuator is used to move the box back into the second conveyor so that it will go again to the bottle filling process again. This process takes 5 seconds. So the bottle is moving along a conveyor belt system and then it reaches the sensor 1, which will detect the presence of a bottle at the filling station. And at that station, the conveyor will stop and the filling will start for 15 seconds. So after 15 seconds, filling has completed and the conveyor will again start. And after that, there is another sensor there which will detect the bottle is half filled or fully filled. So if the bottle is fully filled, the conveyor will not stop. But if the bottle is half filled, the conveyor will stop, and when conveyor will stop, a linear actuator will get actuated to lift the bottle to the second conveyor so that it will go again to the bottle filling station. So this process of lifting the bottle by the linear actuator will take 5 seconds. So a linear actuator will be activated for 5 seconds only, and then the conveyor will again start. So for this example, we will use normally open contacts as well as normally closed contacts. We will also use some memory bits, and also we will also use timers like TP. So let's move to EcoStruxure Machine Expert, where we will draw a ladder diagram for bottle status checking.
I will keep read protection as inactive and write protection as inactive as well. That results uploading the application from the controller is unrestricted and downloading an application to the controller or modifying the application in the controller is unrestricted. So if I keep it active, then uploading the application from the controller is disabled due to the blank password. That means if we keep it active, we have to set password here. And then uploading the application from the controller will be restricted. That means it will need a password, and also downloading an application to the controller or modifying the application in the controller will be restricted. That is, it will ask for the password that we have put it here. So for now, I will keep it inactive for read protection as well as write protection. And then I will click on apply. So after that, I will go to configuration tab. So here we have to select the logic controller. We have to configure the device in this tab. So here is a list of different logic controllers. I will be using TM221 C24R. I will click on it and then drag it to here. Do you want to replace TM221M16RG by TM221C24R. You may lose some features and associated configuration. So I want to replace it, so I will click on Yes. So here is a device description about TM221C24R. That is, it has 14 digital inputs, 10 relay outputs, 2 analog inputs, 1 serial line port, and 100 to 240 volt AC power supply controller with removable terminal blocks. So after that, I can also go to serial line, where I will select protocol as TMH2GDB. I can also set it as Modbus ASCII TMH2GDB or Modbus Serial IO Scanner. I will keep it TMH2GDB for now. And then I will click on Apply. So if I keep protocol as TMH2GDB, then there is no need to set the serial line settings. So after that, I will click on Programming tab. So here I will be drawing ladder diagram.
So firstly, I will click on this option to set a full screen mode, and then I will zoom into it like this. So firstly, I will insert a normally open contact. I will assign address to it as I0.0. I will also add symbol to it as start push button. Yes. And then I will insert a coil here, and I will assign address to it as M0, which is a memory bit. And then I will add it here. So I will insert one more normally open contact, and then I will connect it like this. So I will assign address to this normally open contact as M0. So when start push button is pressed and released, M0 gets activated. And when M0 gets activated, all other things will happen. So I will add one more rung here. And firstly, I will insert a normally open contact. And I will assign address to it as M0. And then I will insert a file. I will assign address to it as Q0.0. I will also add symbol to it as conveyor. Yes. So when start push button is pressed and released, M0 will get activated, and when M0 gets activated, conveyor will start. So conveyor will move the bottle to different stations. And then I will add a new rung here and insert a normally open contact. And I will assign address to it as I0.1. I will also add symbol to it as billing sensor. Yes. So this is a sensor which will detect the presence of bottle at the filling station. And then I will insert a coil. And I will assign address to it as Q0.1. And I will assign symbol to it as pump or the valve, which will get actuated to fill the bottle. And this filling process will be there for 15 seconds. So the pump will be activated for 15 seconds. For this, I will insert a functional block timer here, and that should be TP, so that pump should be activated for some period of time. I will change time base to 1 second and preset value as 50, so that pump will get activated only for 15 seconds. And when the filling sensor gets activated, That is, when it detects the presence of bottle at the filling station, pump will get activated for 15 seconds. And in those 15 seconds, before that, conveyor should stop. So we will use this pump as normally closed contact here. I will assign address to it as Q0.1, that is pump. So when pump will start working, conveyor will stop. So when conveyor will stop, pump will start and it will be actuated for 15 seconds only. And after 15 seconds, this normally closed contact will be false and the current will flow through it and conveyor will again start. And when conveyor will again start, the bottle will reach one more station where the bottle is being checked. The bottle is whether fully filled or half filled. For that, I will add a new rung here and I will insert a normally open contact. And I will assign address to it as I0.2. I will also add symbol to it as half fill sensor. So this sensor will sense the bottle is half filled. So when the bottle is half filled, this sensor will get activated. So when the bottle is being detected as half filled, then the conveyor should stop again. And also the linear actuator should get activated. For that, I will insert a coil here and I will assign address to it as Q 0.2. I will also add symbol to it as linear actuator. Yes, but this linear actuator should be activated only for 5 seconds. So I will insert a functional block timer here for a linear actuator and that should be TP. Pulse timer. I will change time base to 1 second and preset value as 5 and then click on apply. So when the bottle is half filled, this sensor will get activated and when this sensor gets true, the linear actuator will be activated. It will turn on and it will turn on for 5 seconds. So when this linear actuator will activate, the conveyor should have been stopped. So for this, we will use this linear actuator as normally closed contact here to stop the conveyor. So I will insert a normally closed contact here and I will assign address to it as Q0.2. And then I will insert one more normally open contact. I will assign address to it as I0.3. I will also add symbol to it as stop push button. Yes. And then I will insert a coil here. So this push button will stop this process. And then I will assign address to it as M1. So then I will add it here, this M1. So I will insert one more normally open contact. I will assign address to it as M1. And then I will connect it like this. So I will use this M1 here as normally close contact to turn off M0. So when M0 will turn off, all the other things will stop. So I will insert a normally close contact here and I will assign address to it as M2. Sorry, M1. And also We'll insert here normally open contact as M0, or here we can also keep it here. And then for here linear actuator, I will insert it here, and I will assign address to it as M0. So when start push button is pressed and released, M0 will get activated, and when M0 will get activated, the conveyor will start moving. It will take the bottle to different stations, and the conveyor belt is moving the bottle to different stations, and when the bottle reaches the filling station, so there is a sensor which will detect the presence of that bottle at that particular station. It gets activated, and when it will get activated, the current will flow through it, and M0 is already on. Then the pump will turn on, and it will move. It will be actuated for 15 seconds only, and in those 15 seconds we have used this pump here as normally close contact, so this pump will get through for 15 seconds, and in those 15 seconds the current will not flow through it for 15 seconds, and as a result conveyor will stop. And then after 15 seconds it will turn off, and when it will turn off, as it is a normally closed contact, the current will flow through it and the conveyor will again start. And then when conveyor is moving, the bottle is moving, and it reaches a place where there is a sensor which is detecting whether a bottle is half filled or fully filled. So when a bottle is half filled, this sensor gets activated. So when this sensor, that is I0.2, gets activated, the linear actuator gets on, and it turns on for 5 seconds. And also M0 is true, that is push button is pressed, start button is pressed. So linear actuator gets on for 5 seconds. And we are using this linear actuator here as normally closed contact. So this linear actuator gets true for 5 seconds, and as a result, the current will not flow through it and the conveyor stops. But after 5 seconds, the linear actuator will turn off, and here it will turn false as it is a normally closed contact. In false state, the current will flow through it and the conveyor will again start. So when this linear actuator will get activated, it will lift the bottle and place it on the second conveyor to get filled fully. And then there is a stop push button placed here. When it is pressed and released, M1 gets activated. And then we are using this M1 here. So when M1 gets activated, when stop push button is pressed, the current will not flow through it and M0 gets false. And when M0 gets false, conveyor will stop. And when M0 gets false, pump will stop. Here, conveyor will stop. And also here, when M0 gets false, pump will stop, and also here when M0 gets false, the linear actuator will stop. So all the processes will stop when stop push button is pressed. So I will exit full screen mode, and then I will compile the program, and then I will go to commissioning a launch simulator. And then I will start controller. To do so, click OK. So I will go to programming and click on full screen. So firstly, we have to press and release the push button. So I pressed and released. So what happens is that when start push button is pressed and released, M0 gets true. And when M0 gets true, these are normally closed contacts. They are in false state. The current will flow through them and the conveyor will start. So the conveyor is moving the bottle to different stations. So at the filling station, there is a sensor which will detect the presence of bottle. So the bottle reaches the filling station and this sensor gets activated. So when this sensor gets activated, the pump will turn on for 15 seconds. And also this Normally close contact is true and it will break the connection and the conveyor will stop. And after 15 seconds, the pump will stop. And as a result, this becomes false, and as a result, the conveyor will again start. And it will reach another station where the status of bottle is being checked, whether the bottle is filled fully or half. So there is a half fill sensor placed there that when the bottle is half filled, this sensor gets activated. I 0.2 gets activated. So if the bottle is fully filled, this sensor will not get activated. But if the bottle is half filled, this sensor gets activated. That is, if half sensor gets activated, that is when there is a half filled bottle, the linear actuator will start taking that bottle to the conveyor again to get filled. And in those, the conveyor was stopped. And if I press and release the stop push button, the conveyor will stop working. It was all about this example. Thank you for watching.